So we're on video 11. I thought I'd do an update just to see how everything's going and show you a few steps. Again, if I don't do updates, then it jumps so far that it's kind of hard to see where the project's gone and what's happened in between because they're so big. So I'll just kind of walk you through. The last video I did, I was just about to lay, oh no, I'd just done the lino and I was showing you the riser. So now you can see the whole point of the riser. This looks a bit weird with the thing kicked in. But yeah, so basically I've got 2 seats in front of 3 seats. The riser, and then sit in front, and then from here they look down the room. It looks a bit weird because I put it on wide mode. It's not actually that far, but it's on wide mode, so it looks like a bigger shot than it is. The space from the back down here into this pillar is just over 3 meters. So I think the speaker is just under 1 meter off the wall. So it's probably, I would guess, just under 3 meters to the listening chair. Maybe 3 meters at a push. Yeah, but this is where we're at. The one weird thing that might look really strange or there's a few things I'll explain. The rack that's got all the sound kit in it is actually going to be about another 2 feet this way. But the power cable that runs the power conditioner isn't long enough, so I've ordered another one. All the cables are designed so they run down to here, and then they're going to come out. So basically I'm going to move it forward, and that means someone can sit in this chair really easily, and then I'll just put my laptop on top of the unit, and I can play around with it really easy. The space has got a skirting board that has 2 runs through it, so I can run all the cables. So from where this unit's going to be, the speaker cables will go down, so the right speaker will go down and then come out. There's a gap in each of the corners that's not filled. You'll see, and so what will happen is the speaker cable will come out and just go straight to where the speaker is, and then the other one will go all the way along the back one and then do the same again. It will come out that gap and go straight there. And then at the moment, then obviously this bag has a bunch of video cables. One's a send, one's a return, one's a network cable for the TV. So they'll go down the other like groove or the other route in the thing, so there's no cables in the room. Yeah, and then the other thing I'm trying to work out at the moment is where I'm going to put my sub. I think I'll wait till the sub's in the room. Most people would just say, oh, just plonk it in the corner, plug it in here because it's an active 12. But I'm quite worried that it's going to be 2 in the corner and 2 kind of farty. We'll see. My other option is if I can run the cable round long enough, somehow, it might not go around the skirting, but I might be able to run it off behind the speakers, is to actually put the sub in the middle of the room on the left and just put it there. Or I could be really cheeky and hide it at the back, like cinema style, and just run the cable along that wall so no one sees it. But I think it would just be all sub bass and no musicality. So the 2 options are basically put it behind one of these speakers or put it down here. Down here would be quite cool, but I don't know, we'll see. Yeah. And then, so this is going to move. The cables are all going to go through. I'm still playing with speaker placement. It's an absolute minefield. Every time I do anything, I just kind of have a play. I've had a couple of times that I got the sound really nice. One time though, it was ridiculous. Literally the speakers were out like another 30 or 40 centimeters and they were in about another 20 each side, which means there's no way you could actually use it as a room. This is pretty close. Starts to get quite nice imaging set up like this, but it's not perfect. So I'm going to wait till I get the room really set up and then I'll do loads of pull one out, do the other, move it back and forward kind of style, and then use some bass tracks and vocal tracks. But The other thing is this. So this is my shelf. So I've got a shelf and a storage space at the back of the riser. This is kind of intentional so that I don't have lots of stuff in the room. I don't want the room to be like full of like, oh yeah, there's a box here and a pile of cables there and everything's getting put on the front. No, I want it to be quite tidy. So even if some stuff's in the room, basically most of it will either go on the shelves or I'll put all the boxes on one side. Long term, I might put like a cinema sub behind there and run it to just shake this bit a bit more and only use it during movies. But that's like in a long term plan. But yeah, that's the kind of general layout. Basically, the setup is really simple. So it's a 2.1 system. I've got three-way monitors, monitor audio, 160 monitors, and then I run really straightforward. I run a topping D90 MQA DAC, which allows me to plug USB straight into my laptop. So I go USB-C cable into the side, which allows me to charge and internet and DAC straight through that. And all I've got, I think now after I've been using it, I bought like a really cheap docking station with a USB. I think I'm going to buy a better one for a bunch of different reasons. The main one's power, because it doesn't actually send very much power to my laptop. My laptop needs more power. But the idea is right, that what you do is you plug the USB from the DAC in the back, the power in the back, and also have a network cable that's not plugged in because it fights with it at the moment. But there's a network cable that plugs in, and my hard drive as well. So then that means over the network I can save stuff to my hard drive. So yeah, and all I do is literally just sit. I can sit with it on my lap or I can sit it there. Probably what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put it on the top and leave it there and turn it. That's how it works. Sound wise, at the moment I've got a musical Fidelity M2 SI, like the smallest power rating. But the good thing about it is at 8 ohms it only does about 70 watts a channel, but at 4 ohms it does about 130, 135, which is really good. It's perfect, so running it at like a quarter, a third, it's great. Power wise, I plug everything into, I've got an Isotech substation power conditioner, and then I've got a little block that I just plug everything that's computer related into. So it just has one outlet that goes in the power conditioner, which means literally I can switch all the computer stuff on and off if I need to. It's really straightforward. Just got a CD tape player in case I randomly have any CD tapes, but that's a bit random. But basically I run everything off a laptop, and I just stream it. Do high-res streaming off of a laptop. It's straightforward. Yeah, this is it, basic setup. The next stage is to start doing some stuff to the room. So what I'm going to do, my original idea was to run a curtain across here, one curtain, and then the other across here, and then the rest of the room just treat it with panels. But the more I've spoken to a couple of people, they were like, well, why are you going to do one on one side and not the other? So surely if you've got curtain on one side, the smart thing to do would be curtain on the other so that it's not, so it's equal and it's not fighting itself. And then I realised I need a curtain for the back anyway to cover up my storage and so that sound doesn't bounce off the back wall. So now what I'm going to do is I've bought 4 curtains, or bought 5 sections, but I'm going to run it at like 4 curtains. So I'm going to run all the way up to about here, just to the left of the door. It's going to be one long curtain that goes down the wall, but it can split in the middle, which means you can still open it for the window and open it for the door. But when you're in the room, you can close it. Then I'm going to run a curtain on the front, along the front, but slightly about half a metre to a metre down each side so that it cuts round. But then you can also bunch it in the corners. And then I'm going to run another big one down the same as the other side. And then round the back, I'm going to run one that goes about a metre on one side, 2.5 across, metre on this side. And it will go round the back as one section. And it also means you can just move it, slide it, put more stuff in if you want to bring it back. And that means the whole room will be equal. I need to just make sure that the joins are at the points where I want it to be, because in reality, when it's not being used, it needs to bunch. So I'm gonna like bunch it and bunch it, bunch it, bunch it there, bunch it there. I'm not sure about this one, if I should split it in two, probably. So that means it'll bunch and then bunch and bunch. And then, yeah, you're sorted. That was the most random description of where I'm putting curtains, wasn't it? Yes. But anyway, basically 5 or 6 curtains are going to cover the whole room. Maybe to get away from the idea of putting sound panels up, I might still have to do something to the roof. 2 to 3 panels across the roof, maybe 1 island on the roof instead. I don't know, that's the next bit. Once I've put the curtains up and I bring the sub in, I'm going to set it up kind of the way I like it, and then I've got a friend who's going to come and we're going to test it somehow. I've got a couple of ideas. He's got some kit, but he suggested that I buy my own kit, so I can test it a few different times. So we'll see, maybe not. But yeah, we're at the stage where more like a room. Everyone wants to call it a cinema, but I want to listen to music in here and then also have a big screen that'll let me do stuff while I put music on. So if I want to watch the football, or I can watch documentaries, or do everything, or other times I can just sit, do some work and put some music on and sorted. So yeah, it's a kind of cinema listening room. I always called it a studio because I thought I'd get work done in it, and my idea was to put some sort of seating at the front like this, but then have a desk at the back. But now I'm like full blown media room slash cinema slash listening room. So yeah, we'll get there. But yeah, this is the basic setup. If you've got any questions, or if you've got any suggestions, probably suggestions at this stage would be really good. It'd be amazing. I'm just basically I've been playing with settings, downloading all the drivers for my laptop for my DAC, and then also I've been updating the DAC with the settings I want, and updating Windows and all these kind of things, so that it runs QBoss the way I want it. So I'm hoping I'm going to give it a go in about 10 minutes and it's all going to work, which let's hope. Anyway, right, good video. See you later.